tragic story of the AFC North collapse. The AFC North was once a powerhouse, a division defined by toughness, dominance, and relentless playoff success. Teams like the Steelers, Ravens, Bengals, and Browns built reputations on strong defenses, physical play, and consistent winning seasons. But over the last decade, this dominance began to crumble. Injuries, aging rosters, inconsistent quarterback play, and questionable management decisions created cracks that widened over time. Playoff failures mounted, and what was once a feared division became a symbol of missed opportunities and unrealized potential. Fans grew frustrated, media scrutiny intensified, and the league began to question the division's relevance. This is the story of how the AFC North went from being one of the NFL's most formidable divisions to facing a slow, painful collapse. A cautionary tale of how even the strongest legacies can falter when adaptation, depth, and strategy fall short. The glory days. To understand the AFC North's tragic collapse, we first need to revisit its glory days. Historically, the division, home to the Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore Ravens, Cincinnati Bengals, and Cleveland Browns, was one of the NFL's toughest and most competitive. These teams built their identities on physical football, elite defenses, and consistent playoff appearances, creating a reputation that commanded respect across the league. In the early 2000s, the AFC North was a true powerhouse. The Steelers, under Bill Cowher and later Mike Tomlin, set the standard for discipline, toughness, and winning culture. The Ravens, led by the legendary Ray Lewis, dominated with fearsome defenses and claimed multiple Super Bowls, keeping opponents on edge. Even the Bengals and Browns, despite periods of inconsistency, produced flashes of brilliance, competitive teams, and loyal fan bases that demanded success. During this era, every matchup carried weight. Division games were as much about pride and rivalry as they were about playoff positioning. The AFC North was a grueling gauntlet. Survival required strength, strategy, and relentless willpower. Fans and players alike respected the intensity, knowing that each team had the capability to end another season at any moment. Yet no dynasty is immune to challenges. Slowly, the first cracks began to form. Small shifts in roster strength, coaching transitions, and inconsistent performances hinted at vulnerabilities beneath the division's dominant exterior. These early weaknesses, while subtle, set the stage for the eventual decline, turning a once feared division into the story of a tragic collapse that would haunt teams and fans alike. Foundations of collapse. The seeds of the AFC North's decline were subtle at first, almost imperceptible to casual fans. In Pittsburgh, Mike Tomlin's Steelers continued to post strong regular season records, but postseason success became increasingly elusive. Year after year, a team that once dominated faltered in the playoffs. Consistent wins masked a glaring vulnerability. The Steelers could perform during the regular season, but struggled when it mattered most, leaving fans and analysts frustrated and questioning the team's ability to finish what it started. Baltimore faced a similar trajectory. After the Ray Lewis era, the Ravens entered a period of rebuilding. Injuries, aging stars, and inconsistent quarterback play introduced instability. For a franchise once defined by defensive dominance, cracks were beginning to show. A team once feared across the league suddenly had moments of weakness that opponents could exploit. The Cincinnati Bengals, long overshadowed by their division rivals, tried to build around Joe Burrow. While the team showed flashes of brilliance, high expectations collided with playoff disappointments and internal struggles. Their regular season highs couldn't mask recurring postseason failures, contributing to the narrative of decline across the division. Meanwhile, the Cleveland Browns, historically the perennial underdog, experienced moments of resurgence but remained plagued by coaching turnover and roster instability. One winning season could not erase years of foundational weaknesses. By the mid-2000s, what had once been a division of titans now resembled a house of cards. Individually, teams were strong, talented, and capable, but collectively, the AFC North had become fragile, struggling to adapt under adversity. The foundations that once built dynasties were eroding, setting the stage for a collapse that would define the division for years to come. Turning points. The collapse of the AFC North didn't happen overnight. It was the result of a series of critical turning points that gradually eroded the division's dominance. Injuries to key quarterbacks and defensive stalwarts struck at the heart of each franchise, forcing teams to adjust adjust under pressure. Aging rosters, unable to keep pace with the speed and complexity of modern NFL offenses, compounded the problem. Front office decisions also played a role. Drafts that failed to address crucial team needs left gaps in talent and depth, while coaching staffs often relied too heavily on past strategies instead of embracing innovation. The Steelers' ongoing playoff struggles became a symbol of the wider issue. Regular season wins were no longer enough if teams could not rise to the occasion when it mattered most. Baltimore, once defined by an almost impenetrable defense, began leaking points in pivotal games. The Bengals, despite an electrifying offense led by Joe Burrow, repeatedly fell short in playoff matchups. The Browns, meanwhile, showed flashes of brilliance but were unable to sustain momentum or convert potential into consistent success. Fans and analysts began to notice a troubling pattern. Every team had talent and moments of promise, yet none could consistently dominate. The division that was once feared for its toughness, discipline, and ability to grind out victories began losing its edge. These turning points didn't just affect individual teams, they marked a shift in the identity of the AFC North. What had once been a bastion of playoff success, physicality, and consistency was now a division grappling with missed opportunities, strategic missteps, and the slow unraveling of its once mighty reputation. The fall of dominance. By the 2025 season, the decline of the AFC North had become impossible to ignore. What was once a division celebrated for toughness, discipline, and playoff dominance was now showing cracks that could no longer be dismissed. The Pittsburgh Steelers, despite finishing the regular season with a strong record and securing another playoff berth, suffered one of the worst home playoff losses in franchise history, dashing hopes of a deep postseason run and reigniting questions about the team's ability to perform under pressure. Meanwhile, the Baltimore Ravens struggled to maintain the consistency that had defined their earlier dominance. With aging stars retired or in decline, the team faced difficulty sustaining the elite defensive play and leadership that once made them a constant threat in the playoffs. The Cincinnati Bengals, though talented and exciting to watch, repeatedly faltered in high-pressure situations, failing to convert regular season promise into postseason success. Even the Cleveland Browns, a franchise that had shown glimpses of competitiveness, alternated between moments of hope and frustrating setbacks, unable to establish stability or sustain success. The fallout was immediate and far-reaching. Social media erupted with debate, fans voiced their frustrations loudly, and analysts scrutinized every decision made by coaching staffs and front offices. Questions about management failures, coaching strategies, and long-term planning became impossible to ignore. The division that had once been a symbol of dynasty and dominance now appeared fragile and vulnerable, leaving fans and observers to grapple with the stark contrast between past glory and present struggles. Fan engagement began to wane as the cycle of disappointment replaced the excitement and anticipation that had once defined AFC North games. Franchise reputations suffered, creating challenges in attracting top-tier free agents, while media scrutiny intensified, highlighting organizational weaknesses and exposing gaps in coaching and decision-making. Ultimately, the once revered AFC North, feared by opponents and celebrated by fans, had become a cautionary tale, a stark reminder that even the strongest divisions can falter without adaptation, strategic foresight, and depth across rosters. The fall of dominance was not just a series of losses on the field, but a reflection of systemic issues that reshaped the identity and legacy of one of the NFL's most storied divisions. Lessons from the collapse. The collapse of the AFC North is more than a story of losses. It's a lesson about legacy, expectations, and the fragile nature of dominance. For decades, the division was built on talent, toughness, and discipline, producing legendary teams and unforgettable moments. Yet even the strongest foundations can weaken when adaptation and forward planning are neglected. For fans, the collapse highlights the importance of patience and perspective. Seasons of disappointment don't erase the division's history, but they do remind us that past success doesn't guarantee future glory. For franchises, it serves as a stark warning. Relying solely on tradition, star power, or previous formulas is not enough to maintain excellence. Continuous evaluation, innovation, and strategic depth are essential to stay competitive. For the broader story of football, the AFC North collapse underscores a simple truth. Even the most dominant divisions can fall when preparation, adaptation, and opportunity misalign. Injuries, aging rosters, injuries, inconsistent leadership, and playoff failures all contributed to the decline, proving that legacy alone cannot shield a team from the challenges of a constantly evolving league. In the end, the AFC North story is a cautionary tale, a reminder that greatness is never permanent, and that true strength comes not just from talent and history, but from the ability to evolve and rise above adversity.